Going. Okay, so welcome to Yin. I'm subbing for Patty today. We are going to be working on hamstring flexibility. So like I said, you'll need your strap and your 2 blocks. I just thought the hamstrings might be a good place to start. I know everyone's talking about wanting to work on flexibility. So I feel like the hamstrings kind of dictate a lot of other flexibility in our bodies, with our hips and our lower back and even lower legs. So we'll kind of focus on that. We'll get into the hips a little bit today too. So we'll go ahead and get started. If you have all your stuff, just start in a comfortable seated position. And start to close your eyes. Start to quiet your thoughts. To deepen and lengthen your breath. Just set aside whatever else you might have going on today. And allow this time for you. Allow yourself to be present. Allow a fresh, positive start for your day. Take a deep breath in. And take a long, slow exhale out through your mouth. Again, deep breath in. Long, slow exhale out through your mouth. And do a few rounds of breath this way on your own. With each exhale, letting go of anything that doesn't serve you. Letting go of your stresses, worry, negativity. As you continue your breath this way, I'm going to read just a little quote for you to keep in mind throughout your practice today. You may have heard it before. It's called The Goal of Yoga by Rachel Braffin. It says that the yoga pose is not the goal. Becoming flexible or standing on your hands is not the goal. The goal is to create space where you once were stuck, to unveil layers of protection you've built around your heart, to appreciate your body and become aware of the mind and the noise it creates, to make peace with who you are. The goal is to love you. Shift your focus and your heart will grow. So like I said, just keeping that in mind through your practice as you're working on your flexibility. Don't force it too much. Don't worry about it too much. Just know that you're doing the work. The rest will come. Take one more deep breath in. One more long, slow exhale out through your mouth. Emptying out all the breath that you can. And then return to your natural breath. Slowly start to open your eyes. Then take a deep breath in and shrug your shoulders up to your ears. Pause there. And then on your exhale, open your chest and slide the shoulder blades down your back and sit up nice and tall. We're going to start our first pose in a wide knee child's pose. If wide knee child's pose doesn't feel good, you can keep your knees together. But we're going to bring the knees, if that feels okay, to the edges of the mat, big toes together. Sit back and stretch the arms out straight. Try not to let the arms get too lazy. Try to keep them at least a little bit stretched here. Feeling the opening in your hips, your lower back, your shoulders. Sometimes we forget how much work can happen in just a child's pose. Let your head rest on the mat or on a block. Keeping the attention inward. Shutting out any outside noises. Feeling your body as it starts to sink deeper and deeper into the mat. Notice if you're clenching your jaw. Kind of let that relax. Maybe wiggle your jaw back and forth. And just continue your deep breath. Take one more round of breath here. And on your next inhale, just rock your head side to side. So kind of bring your head over to one side and then bring it over to the other side. Kind of rolling on your forehead, waking the neck up. After you've done that a couple times on each side, bring the head back to center. And then slowly start to lift your head up. On your inhale, walk the hands in, slowly coming up. And we're going to swing the legs around and come into a butterfly pose. So bringing the bottoms of the feet together. If you'd like, you can put those blocks under your knees if you need some support. And then you can have your feet as far or as close as you would like. Just whatever feels good to you. Letting the knees drop open. We'll stay upright at first. Just a couple breaths, getting used to having your legs this way. And then you can always stay here or bring your hands out in front of you and start to walk forward. If you're doing this, I suggest that you go a little bit slow so you can listen to where your body's at. Just slowly going deeper and deeper. Bring some awareness back to your facial features, your neck. Notice if you're tightening any of that up, and try to let it relax. Take one more round of deep breath here. And then slowly walk the hands back in, coming back to upright. And we're going to separate the feet and come into a wide leg seat. You have your blocks there. If you need a block tower, anytime we're folding forward, you can build the blocks up so you can rest your head on it. So just keep that in mind. So just bringing both legs out only as wide as it feels good to you. Don't worry about how far you're going. Sitting up tall at first. And this might be enough. If you're really tight in your hamstrings, you might just want to stay upright. But if you feel okay, you can start to, again, slowly walk forward. Just let your body slowly ease into that forward fold. Try to breathe into the hips and thighs and let them relax as much as possible. I'm going to try to keep the toes pointing up, knees pointing up. Nice deep breaths. Take 2 more rounds of breath here. And then on your next inhale, slowly start to walk back upright. Pausing for a moment. And then you can bring your legs together. Bringing them out in front of you. Maybe wiggle the knees out a little bit. Sitting up tall. We're going to stretch the arms up into the air, just stretching up from the hips, from the pelvis. Stretch up as tall as you can. And then start to fold forward, reaching out as far as you can. And then when you can't reach and fold anymore, then go ahead and let your arms relax, fall wherever they fall, grabbing onto the shins, the ankles, or the feet. Again, placing those blocks underneath your forehead if you need some support. You can bend the knees a little bit if you need to. If your lower back is starting to bother you, just bend your knees a little bit more. That should help that. Or again, rest your head on the block. Take 2 more deep breaths here. And then release your hands and slowly roll back up to seated. Taking it nice and slow, the head will be the last thing to come up. Pausing here, sitting up tall. Just allow the blood to settle back in. You can wiggle your knees again if you need to. For the next one, we're not going to need the blocks for this, but we'll need it for the next pose after. So you may want to bring them with you so that they're within your reach. We're going to bring the feet in and come into dangling pose. So coming up on the feet, you can keep the knees bent, just coming into a forward fold. And then we'll grab opposite elbows. Try to let your lower back release as much as possible and just hang over the legs. Let your neck and shoulders be relaxed. You won't be here for quite as long as the other poses. You want to sway side to side here at the end, kind of loosen everything up, you can do that. And then take one more breath here. And then slowly start to lift your head. Grab your blocks. You'll place the blocks underneath your shoulders, any height that you need. You'll see where we're going so you can adjust it if you need to. We're going to come down onto the left knee, and so you'll bring these blocks back down, and then we're going to bring this right heel out. So you can stay with just that, or you can lean into that a little bit more. Kind of folding forward will give you more stretch. So we're doing a half split stretch on this knee. Right leg is out. We're up on the heel. You can just stay upright or fold as much as you'd like. Make sure to use those blocks for some support. You don't have to put all of the weight on the heel. You'll want to put some weight on your blocks with your hands. Try to keep this left hip from swaying too much over. Keep yourself centered as much as you're able to. If your neck bothers you at all, you definitely don't have to look down. You can kind of just look out and down. Give your neck a little break. Keep focusing on the breath. Keeping the tension out of the jaw, out of the face. If you feel like you need a little more stretch, you can always lower these blocks. You may not even need blocks. If you can reach the floor comfortably and you'd rather do it that way, totally fine. Do whatever you need today. Take 2 more rounds of breath here. And then we're going to come forward. We're going to come into pigeon pose. So coming onto your hands, and we're going to fold that leg in so that your knee comes to the inside of your right wrist, left leg goes out. If pigeon pose is not in your practice, you could lay on your back and do a figure four or eye of the needle. Looks like you're all in the pigeon pose though. So you can stay upright, or if you like to come down onto elbows or fold forward. And I always like to point out, it doesn't matter where this leg is. I'll show you on this side. A lot of people worry if their leg is supposed to be this way or if it's supposed to be parallel. It doesn't matter. Whatever feels best to you. It's done both ways. Just deep breaths into the hip. Really letting that hip open up. Take 3 more rounds of deep breaths here. And then after that third round of breath, see if you have any deeper to sink and melt into the mat. And then slowly start to lift your head, come up onto your hands. We're going to push that knee back. If you'd like to take a little child's pose to kind of readjust the hips, you can do that. And then we're going to come back up onto hands and knees, grab those blocks. We'll do it all on the other side. So bringing that left heel out, toes up, we're up on the right knee. You can stay here if you get a lot of stretch, just like that, or you can lean back a little bit, start to fold over that leg. This leg might feel completely different than your other side, so play around with it, see if you need to lower the blocks or bring them up higher. Maybe lean a little more, a little less than before. You notice yourself start to sway off to the right side, just bring yourself back to the center, readjust. Keep focusing on the breath. Take 2 more rounds of breath here. And then after your 2 rounds of breath, set those blocks aside. Come down onto your fingertips, bend that knee, bring the knee to the inside of the left wrist and slide the right leg out. And again, you can stay upright or fold forward any amount, maybe just elbows, maybe on blocks, or make a forearm pillow and come all the way down. Nice deep breaths into that left hip, allowing it to open up as much as possible. If it feels a little stuck, just breathe a little deeper into it. Take 3 more rounds of deep breaths here. And then allow yourself to sink in a little bit deeper. And then slowly start to lift your head, coming up onto your hands. Bring that knee back to meet your right knee. Sit back into a child's pose, wide knee or regular, whatever feels good, just stretch it out. Take one more deep breath in your child's pose. And then lift the head and slide the hands back in, coming back up to seated. We're going to grab the strap. And then we'll come to laying down on our back. You can have the blocks close by so that when you're laying down, you can reach them. We will be laying down for the rest of the class, so that way you don't have to get back up. So laying down with the strap. We're going to take the strap, make sure it's unrolled, and place the strap underneath your right foot and bring that leg up towards straight. If you have a bend in the knee, that's fine. For a little more support, you can keep this left foot on the mat with the knee bent. For more stretch, you can straighten it out. Breathing into the back of the leg. If you need even more stretch, pull the leg closer to you until you find the stretch that you need. Make sure to keep this foot nice and flexed. This right foot. Relax the facial muscles, soften the jaw. Just Keep working the pose as we're here, noticing if you need more stretch, straighten the leg more, bring it closer to you. Just do whatever you need to do in this to get the best stretch for you. If it's a lot and you stay at where you were at the beginning, that's good too. Take 2 more deep breaths here, maybe pulling your leg in a little bit closer one last time. And then bring both of the straps into your right hand, point the toes a little bit off to the right, and drop the leg open over to the right. Try to keep both of your shoulders on the mat. You can place the left hand on the left hip. And then if you need more stretch, pull your foot up closer towards your head. Let's see my foot, okay. Stretching the inside of that leg. And make sure your gaze is just upward so you're not kinking your neck up at all. Two more deep breaths here, pulling that leg up a little bit closer to your head if you need just a little bit deeper stretch before we switch. And then on your next inhale, slowly bring that foot back up to center. And we'll switch hands with the straps. So place the straps in the left hand, point the toes a little bit over to the left, and then cross that leg over to the left. You can bring this right arm out into T. Maybe look over the right fingertips. Again, trying to keep both of the shoulders on the mat. Keeping the right foot flexed still to get the most stretch, hopefully going into the right hip with that stretch. And again, if you need more stretch, pulling the foot up closer towards your head will get that. Two more deep breaths here. While you're doing that, maybe pulling that foot up a little closer to get the deepest stretch before we switch. And then on your next inhale, bring that leg back up to the center. I'm going to straighten it out here one more time, just for a couple of breaths, bringing it a little closer to you, maybe straightening the leg out a little bit more, feeling the difference from when we started here. One more breath. And then release that foot from the strap. Point the toes up into the air. Slowly lower that leg long along the mat. When your foot reaches the mat, really stretch through those toes, feeling the difference in your legs. Good. And then on your next inhale, we'll bring the left foot into the strap, straightening that leg. Again, you can keep this right foot here for a little more support or straighten it out for a little more stretch. Flexing that left foot. Nice deep breaths. You might want to pull the foot in a little closer, a little at a time. Then take two more deep breaths, maybe bringing that foot in closer, straightening the leg. And then release the foot back to center. We're going to take the straps in the left hand, point the toes off to the left, and let that leg drop open to the left. Trying to keep both shoulders on the mat. You can place your right hand on your right hip. For more stretch, pull the foot up closer towards your head. Trying to keep the body, the shoulders, the head all centered. Take two more deep breaths here. Maybe pulling the foot up a little bit closer to the head. And then on your next inhale, bring that leg back up to center. We're going to switch hands with the straps. The straps will go in the right hand, point the toes over to the right, and drop that leg across and over to the right. You bring the left arm out into T. Maybe look over the left fingertips. Keeping the left foot flexed. Pull it up closer to your head for more stretch. You'll feel that deepen in your hip with just a little pull. 2 more deep breaths here. Deepening the pose if you need to. And then on your next inhale, bring the head and the leg back up to center. Stretching that leg out one more time. Really flexing the foot. And then remove the foot from the strap. You can set the strap aside. Point the toes up into the air and slowly lower that leg long along the mat. When the foot reaches the mat, stretch through those toes. And then also stretch through the right toes. And then lift your arms up overhead for a full body stretch. Take a nice deep breath here. Feeling the difference in your body, in your legs, your hips. And relax the feet, relax the arms down. We're going to grab one block, placing it on just the middle level. Bring your feet up to the mat in line with your hips, and then lift your hips up and just place that block underneath your hips. It shouldn't poke you. It should just be kind of right under your pelvis. So if it's not comfortable, move that around, or you could try stacking a couple pillows rather than using the block if it's really uncomfortable. And then just shrug the shoulders up to the ears and slide your shoulder blades down your back. Try to let the lower back relax. This is giving the lower back a little bit of a break. Softening the jaw, the neck, the shoulders. Maybe wiggle the fingers out a little bit, the wrists, from holding onto the strap. And then just let the hands relax. Maybe closing your eyes. If it's comfortable, you can let your knees drop together. Take 3 more deep breaths here. And then on your next inhale, gently push with your feet, lifting your hips. Remove the block and slowly roll back down. And then grab your other block. Have one last pose here before Shavasana, reclined butterfly. So bring the bottoms of your feet together again. Let your knees open up, and you can place those blocks under your knees if that feels comfortable to you. And we'll start out hands in cactus. So elbows bent, chest nice and open. We're opening the chest, opening the hips. And just imagine your body receiving in positive energy. Try to let your shoulders and hips and lower back relax. Take a deep breath. And place your left hand on your heart, right hand on your belly. And deepening and lengthening your breath so you can feel your chest as it rises and falls into your hands. Feeling the belly as it rises and falls. Connecting back in with yourself. Maybe giving yourself a loving thought. Take 5 more deep breaths here. Taking your time. After you've completed your 5 rounds of breath, you can return to your natural breath. And when you're ready, we'll get ready to come into Shavasana. If you'd like to stay here for Shavasana, you definitely can. If not, just one at a time, removing the blocks. Bring one leg in, stretch it out. Bring the other leg in and stretch it out. Doing any last movements that you need to here or anything that you need to do to be more comfortable. And then when you're ready, closing your eyes. Letting the breath be relaxed. Allowing your body to take in your yin practice. And starting with the top of your head, imagine the tension melting out of your forehead, out of your jaw, and out of your neck. And imagine the tension melting out of your chest and shoulders, arms and hands. Imagine the tension melting out of your back, abdomen, hips, legs, and feet, until your whole body is completely relaxed. You have nothing to do for the next few minutes but relax. Shavasana. Slowly start to bring your awareness back to your body. Start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Make some wrist circles, ankle circles. Then let your head drop over to the left. And then over to the right. And then when you're ready, roll over onto your side, pausing there for a moment. And then when you're ready, using your hands, push yourself up to seated with your eyes closed. If you'd like, you can place your hands at heart center. And take a nice deep breath here. I'm going to close with the same reading that I read to you in the beginning, just to close it out, bring it fresh into your mind. It's called the goal of yoga. The yoga pose is not the goal. Becoming flexible or standing on your hands is not the goal. The goal is to create space where you once were stuck, to unveil layers of protection you've built around your heart, to appreciate your body and become aware of the mind and the noise that it creates, to make peace with who you are. The goal is to love you. Shift your focus and your heart will grow. Thank you for taking this time for yourself this morning. Working on yourself. Thank you for your practice and your presence. Namaste. Thank you guys so much. It was good to see you all.
Thank you.
Guys, any questions, you can let me know.